Hey there, it's Katrina, and welcome to my project video for the Electro-POP Neon Insta-Hop. So I'm here today to share a project with the new Rina K Designs release, Sending Sunshine. There's stamps, dies, and a stencil. Then there's also Electric Pop Neon enamels and Electric Pop Neon flock. And I use some Deco Foil Transfer Gel in the Blanco and some Gina K adhesives. And then for the paper collection, I use Bloom Street to kind of go with it. So let's get started. So if you haven't used the Deco Foil Transfer Gel Blanco, it's mainly to use, it's great to use for the enamels. You do have to use a heat with it, so you do have to use a laminator. But right here, I'm just taking part of the stencil and I'm going to do a border all the way around my paper. And it takes probably about a couple hours to dry, and it dries, it's white, and it'll dry white. You can tell, you just need to touch it to see if it's tacky. So I'm just taking part of those circles and just going around because I thought it would be fun to make a neon border all the way around my page. So while this is drying, we will be stamping a bunch of images to use for three elements on my layout. So here I've got the Poppin' Pink, Screamin' Green, and the Blaring Blue inks, and I think I also used the Loud Lime ink too. I'm just kind of showing you how to do this to make the die cutting quicker and easier. The way I'm positioning them, I can cut all three images out at once if I wanted to, if I just trim that paper down. So right here I'm just inking up the stamps, and these stamps will stain, or these inks will stain your stamps. Just make sure you clean them really good in between colors, like if you were going to do a blue and then a pink. If you did that, you'd end up with purple if you didn't clean it really well. But if that's the look you're going for, that's okay. So I stamp these a couple of times, and then I take the matching dies and use purple tape to tape the dies on there. And you can see I've got a bunch of images on that one paper to cut out. And this is the way you can cut out the pineapple die, just the leaves. You just die cut part of it, and I'm going to tape it down. And my paper was, when I made this paper, I made it too big for my die cutting, so I had to cut it down. And then I just ran it through my Gemini, and you'll see the little leaves, and I'm doing this for a reason. I did like, I think about, I don't know, you can see how many I did there. I think I did 8 of the leaves and like 14 each of the flowers, and then the tropical leaves. So to make little pineapples out of the stamps. So I used my silhouette to cut out a pineapple shape that I liked, and then I just used that as a guide to place these stamped images down. And I used the Gina K dot roller and went over the top with the leaves, and I alternated the colors because I thought it would be fun and give it a little interest. And layering here, I did not use any foam adhesive on this. This is just straight layering onto the cutout from my Silhouette Cameo. So there's the top, and then for the bottom you're going to cut the tips of the tropical leaves off because those look like the little spikes on a pineapple. And then the flowers, you'll cut them down and use them like with petals of 3, and then you'll cut down like the 2 petals and use those petals as 1. So right here we're going through here, and I think I speed this up because it took a little while, I'm not gonna lie. Once you get going, it's not too bad. I just trimmed a point on these so they looked like a little point, and just tuck them in and just keep fiddling with them until you like how they look. I actually went back on the other 2 that I did and filled in a bunch of areas that I didn't like. So this one I used the Orange Glow and the Potent Purple. The other one I used the Poppin' Pink and the Blaring Blue, and then the yellow and brown one I used Hello Yellow, and then I used a brown ink that I had in my stash. I think it was a Catherine Pooler ink because I didn't have a brown in the Electro-POP ink. So here you can see it's pretty much 3 across for the points, and then 2 for the flowers. And we're going along here, and then once you get done, you just trim it. You'll see me, I'll flip it around. You trim it to fit the outline of the pineapple. So, and you'll just have to play around. I had to move stuff around 2 or 3 times on my first one to get an idea of how I wanted it. It all depends on your pineapple cutout. Isn't that fun? So now that my Decofoil Blanco has dried, my laminator will do a 12 by 12 sheet. So I created my 12 by 12 parchment trifold sleeve, as I like to call it. I always put a piece of cardstock in there because it gives more pressure for everything to transfer. And I just cut pieces of the enamel sheets and just laid them on there. And they have a tendency to roll because they're pretty thin and they're a little bit different than the foil. And the backing is different and they transfer different. So the Blanco gel is the gel you want to use with the neon enamels, because their backing is a different way and it transfers totally different than the foils transfer. So I used purple tape to hold them down and hold them in place because they were kind of rolling everywhere. And don't worry if you put like a green over pink, it's not going to transfer to the pink. You can use that extra look. You can keep that little, you can save that little piece and use it. So here I'm making sure everything's good and smooth. And then I'm going to run it through my laminator, and I run it through twice. My laminator's kind of getting old, so I don't know if the rollers are losing a little bit of pressure, but I do it once top side up, and then I flip it over and run it through again. And then after I get done, I kind of smooth everything out to make sure that enamel transfers. And I think I even flip it over. Yep, I do. I flip it over and make sure everything transfers there. And then we'll peel it off, and you can see all the fun little neon. Pink's my favorite. The pink and the green together are my favorite out of these neons. I'll have to say that. I've never been a yellow girl, or kind of an orange girl, but sometimes it clashes with my pink hair. So, but here you can see how where I've pulled the sheets off, you can see where it transferred. And I'm going to hold it up to the camera, and you can see and get a good solid coverage on your stencil, and that'll give you a good transfer for your enamel base. So next we're going to create some elements using Decofoil foam adhesive and some of the leaf die cuts from the stamp set, or the die set. The best way I found to transfer flock to Decofoil foam is to first back it with cardstock. So here I just took my 6x12 sheet, placed it on a 6x12 piece of cardstock, and then I die cut my images. This keeps the foam from stretching whenever you remove the flock transfer sheet, because the foam, if it does have a tendency to stretch because it's foam. So here I'm just cutting some of the Hello Yellow flock, and then I also use the Orange Glow flock. I thought these would be some fun little elements because I didn't really have much in the way of elements to go on my page. So here I'm just peeling it off, and oh, look how fun that is. So then I've got some in several colors, all the colors of the rainbow. Well, not all the colors. So this is a picture of Carlene and her niece when she graduated from college this past December, and so I thought this would kind of be fun with the title that I picked to go on the layout. And if you're scared about using neons, it's like, oh, it's not going to go with my pictures, change them to black and white. That's what I did, because her outfit was maroon and it did not go with any of the neons, let me tell you that. But it's fun to kind of scrap black and white pictures, and neon's fun to use. So if you want to do, like a all total neon layout, use some black and white pictures. So here I took some of the Gina K foam squares to place my pineapples down, my 2 background ones. And then for the third one, I used the Gina K foam tape, and I actually doubled it up because I wanted that pineapple to stick up just a little bit more. This is about the only dimension this layout has. I didn't do a lot like I normally do. I like to say I'm the queen of dimensional adhesive because I like to use it. Don't ask me how thick my albums are. So right here I'm just kind of going through and doubling it up. And I have no nails. I'm gonna confess, I have no nails and can't get the backing off of it. So, and if I sound, I have some allergies going on, it's not the coronavirus. It's just I've got a stopped up nose. So I get that placed, and then I'd already kind of picked out a little bit of backing for my pictures. I didn't want to just lay them on my background paper. So we're gonna tuck that in. And I also used, I used a piece of pattern paper for her picture, and then I used a piece of glassine paper for it. So we're just going to put those on there. And I kind of wanted to twist it a little bit. And then I used foam adhesive for both pictures to put on the layout. So here I'm just, as I throw my scissors. In this video, I'm going to tell you guys, it was a calamity of errors. I managed to edit most of them out. I did leave one in that you'll see here in a little while. So, and I trimmed that down so it would fit. I didn't plan well on that. So we're getting it in there. And I had stuck those down really good. Usually I can get them pulled up because I don't usually smash them down, but I'd smashed them down. So, and then I just ruffled the edges just for some fun. So, I usually do a lot more layers than this, but I just couldn't, with all the neon, I didn't want to distract from the pictures that much since the neon was going on. So here I'm putting the foam adhesive down. I kind of went off camera there, sorry. My phone kept overheating when I was filming and kept shutting off, and there are several things that I filmed 2 or 3 times to get this done. So get that peeled off there, and then get that picture where I want it. And then, oh, I did pop this up. I couldn't remember. I did pop this up just because it was a slightly smaller picture. So, and then once I get that done, I'll kind of do that. And then I left that space over on the side because I had this idea for a title. And the Be a Pineapple, Stand Tall, Wear a Crown, Be Sweet inside. So I thought that would be a perfect graduation title. So I went through all my thickers, don't ask how many I have, and I actually used some packaging that was the length of my section so I could get how it would fit on there. I had several, I guess, letter sets that I wanted to use, but I couldn't get them to fit. So this was an easy way to be able to transfer them, put them on there, see how they looked, that sort of thing, get the layout before I actually adhered them to my page. So, and these are old sets. That's a glitter set. This is a glitter set. I think it's an Amy Tangerine. And then I had trouble with the Be Sweet and the inside because I could not find what I wanted. So I ended up inking them up. I found some thickers that I had that were, you could alter them. And so I altered them with the neon inks so so it would match, which it worked pretty well. Of course the ink absorbs into it, and it's chipboard, and chipboard's brown, so the yellow's not quite as bright as I would have liked for it to be. So the E's were throwing me off. That's why I kept moving them around, and these did stay wet for quite a while, just so you know. So I got the word inside done. I've kind of skipped some of it. And then I added that sun. And there's my little journaling tag. And then here I'm just adding bits and pieces to kind of make the layout. And I'm almost done here. So then I forgot I hadn't touched. Okay, now if you see this, do you see that? Yeah, I had paint sitting over to the side because I kind of went around my title with paint because I'd gotten some of the blue and the yellow ink in that area and it looked really bad. So I'm telling you, we all make mistakes. So I just used some white acrylic paint, went on the inside and did it, and then I dropped my box of foam squares in the acrylic paint. So if you watch, you can see my hands have paint on them at the end. I've got paint everywhere. I was just like, oh, see, right there. So there's my layouts done. So I hope you like this. This was a fun layout to make. I hope you, all the supplies are linked below. Those are affiliate links. And so take care. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by.